Kiss an angel good morning.
A radio dial glows orange in a dark room. Static breathes between stations. Somewhere in it is a voice that once filled arenas. A voice Nashville decided the world didn't need to hear again. There's a list. Nobody signed it. Nobody printed it. A phone stops ringing. A label stops calling back. A name quietly disappears from a set list. 10 artists. 10 reasons the industry gave itself for making them vanish.
Kiss an angel good morning.
If you've ever wondered why your favorite voice went quiet, hit subscribe, because we're naming names tonight.
Black like me.
By the time we hit number 1, you'll understand exactly what it costs an artist to tell Nashville the truth.
This chicken your last time, 'cause now I've got.
The countdown begins now. Number 10. DeFord Bailey, Pan American Blues, 1927. A polio-stricken 3-year-old lies bedridden in rural Tennessee, teaching himself harmonica because he can't do anything else. His family played what he called black hillbilly music, the same secular string band tradition black and white musicians shared long before the industry drew a hard line between race records and hillbilly records. 30 years later, he's the reason the most famous radio show in American music has a name at all. DeFord Bailey debuted on Nashville radio in 1926 without an audition. In 1927, following a classical broadcast, the announcer introduced Bailey's train imitation piece, Pan American Blues, by declaring, "From now on, we will present the Grand Ole Opry." That sentence gave the show its name. Bailey played the first song under it. For 15 years, he was one of the Opry's highest-paid, most popular performers, touring with Roy Acuff and Bill Monroe, both of whom credited him with drawing the crowds that built their own careers. Then, in 1941, a licensing dispute gave WSM the excuse it needed. They fired him. He denied the excuse until the day he died. "I can read between the lines," he told his biographer. "They saw the day coming when they'd have to pay me right." Bailey spent the next 30 years running a shoeshine stand blocks from the stage he helped name. The Grand Ole Opry didn't formally apologize until 2022, 81 years after firing him and 40 years after he died. His grandson still shines shoes at the Nashville airport and still sings at the Opry his grandfather helped build. That silence had a sequel. 2 decades later, another pioneer would break the same barrier and get pushed out through a colder door.
And in my house, he's so big and strong.
Number 9. Linda Martell, Color Him Father, 1969. A Charleston Air Force Base, 1969. A club singer performs a few country songs the crowd begs for. She'd spent the 60s fronting an R&B trio, never imagining country music was a door that might open for her. A stranger offers to buy a tape of it. She thinks he's a con man. He isn't.
Very sweet. I love this man.
Linda Martell became the first black woman to play the Grand Ole Opry that year, on the strength of Color Him Father, a story song that climbed to number 22 on Billboard's country chart. She'd performed the Opry 12 times. Her label released her only album on an imprint literally called Plantation Records. She confronted her producer about it directly. Audiences shouted slurs at nearly every live show. She was told, "Don't respond, just sing." Then her final single underperformed, and her producer's attention shifted entirely to a white singer who just landed a bigger hit. "I was totally ignored at that time," Martell told Rolling Stone. "She refused to play second fiddle. He blackballed her when she tried to record elsewhere. She never made another album. She drove a school bus. She ran a record store in the Bronx." It took over 50 years, and a surprise feature on Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter, for most of America to learn her name. She was 82. Her legacy would resurface decades later, in a boardroom, when another black woman had to prove she really knew country music.
Broke my heart on the playground.
Number 8. Mickey Guyton, Black Like Me, 2020. A Nashville label meeting. An executive quizzes her on country trivia, as if her right to be in the room needed re-earning, despite the fact she'd grown up listening to the genre her entire life. Mickey Guyton spent over a decade on a major label, writing songs critics praised and radio quietly shelved. No scandal, no boycott, just years of good but not a fit, while newer artists leapfrogged her onto the charts. She wrote Black Like Me years before anyone would release it. The label finally put it out in June 2020, during nationwide protests over George Floyd's death. It became her first top 40 hit. She became the first black woman nominated for a solo Grammy in a country category, and the first black woman to co-host the CMA Awards. The song didn't get more true in 2020. The industry just got less afraid of the consequences of playing it. Indifference has always been Nashville's quietest weapon. Long before Guyton, there was a man the industry loved to book but never figured out how to sell.
Like a flame in the sky.
Number 7. Herb Jeffries, Flamingo, 1940. A film set, late 1930s. A tall black man in a white cowboy hat swings onto a horse, about to become America's first singing black cowboy star, in theaters most of the country never saw. Of mixed heritage, Jeffries repeatedly chose to identify and perform as a black man, in an era when doing so closed far more doors than it opened.
Bingo.
Herb Jeffries starred in a string of all-black cast westerns, financing several himself, because mainstream Hollywood wouldn't put a black leading man in front of a general audience. He built an entire parallel industry because the real one refused to let him in. When the singing cowboy films dried up, he pivoted to jazz. In 1940, singing with Duke Ellington's orchestra, he recorded Flamingo, one of the best-selling records of the big band era. The talent had never been the obstacle. The obstacle was always which audience the industry believed it could sell him to.
Sings this song to you as you.
Herb Jeffries never got blacklisted from mainstream westerns. He was never let onto the list to begin with. He lived to be 100, long enough to watch the industry finally start asking why it took so long to notice him. That instinct, deciding an artist's fate before they sing a note, came back decades later, wearing a very different disguise.
You said it's not because I'm sad that I sing all.
Number 6. K.D. Lang, Full Moon of Love, 1989. Consort, Alberta, cattle country. A sign at the edge of town reads, Home of K.D. Lang. In 1990, someone burns it to the ground. This was a woman who'd grown up in that very town, singing in its churches and community halls, long before Nashville ever knew her name. Just 1 year earlier, Lang had won the Grammy for Best Female Country Vocal Performance, endorsed by Patsy Cline's own family, produced by Cline's own producer. Nashville treated her as country's brightest traditionalist hope. Then she appeared in a PETA ad hugging a cow, declaring, "Meat stinks." More than 30 Alberta stations dropped her overnight. Hay bales were set on fire outside her shows. Bomb threats hit her record label. Alberta's agriculture minister called it a certain feeling of betrayal. American stations across Kansas, Montana, and Missouri joined the boycott within days. 2 years later, Lang came out publicly as a lesbian. Country radio, already bruised, mostly didn't bother finding a way back to her. She crossed fully into pop with Constant Craving and never looked back. She lost country radio not over a scandal involving another person, but over a 30-second commercial about cows. No artist on this list understood the price of one honest sentence better than the woman coming up next.
You'd show me the world, but all I...
Number 5, Loretta Lynn, The Pill, 1975. A record spins in a living room. A woman presses her hand to her chest, hearing a country song finally say something out loud about her own body.
And a few little fancy frills. Yeah, I'm making...
Loretta Lynn recorded The Pill, blunt, funny, unapologetic, years before releasing it, reportedly out of fear of exactly what happened next. Dozens of southern stations refused to play it. Some banned it outright. It still climbed into the top 5 on the stations brave enough to air it. Lynn had already pushed the format further than almost any woman before her, but this one crossed a line Nashville had never needed to draw, because no one had dared approach it. She didn't apologize, and she didn't stop.
While holding a couple in my arms, another...
The Pill is now taught as a landmark in country music history. In its own moment, it was too dangerous for entire radio markets to air.
on the way. This chicken's done for...
Lynn survived her blacklist through sheer stubbornness. The next name paid for his. With 3 years, he can never get back. We're halfway through, and every story so far has one thing in common. The music was never really the problem. Stay with us. The next 4 stories involve a prison sentence, a withheld photograph, 11 seconds that ended a career overnight, and a #1 reveal you won't see coming.
Then I wish you.
Number 4, Freddy Fender, Before the Next Teardrop Falls, 1975. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, May 1960. Police arrest a 22-year-old singer named Baldemar Huerta, performing as Freddy Fender, for marijuana possession. He's sent to Louisiana's notorious Angola prison. He was, by his own account and his fans, targeted at least in part for being a Mexican-American musician, making noise in a business that wasn't built to protect him.
Happiness that matters.
Fender had already scored a regional hit when the arrest happened. He served nearly 3 years before Louisiana's own governor intervened to get him released early, on the condition he stay away from music. He spent the rest of the decade working as a mechanic in Texas.
Most of all.
It took until 1974 for him to record Before the Next Teardrop Falls, sung half in Spanish, and until 1975 for it to hit #1 on both the pop and country charts at once, a first for a bilingual country song. His next 4 singles all reached #1 on the country chart, including a re-recorded version of the very song that made him famous before Louisiana took 3 years of his life.
I'll be there before the next.
Fender lost nearly 2 decades of his career to a sentence his own fans believed was harsher because of who he was. When he finally broke through, country radio never opened that door nearly as wide for the next Latino artist who tried to walk through it.
To drive away.
If a prison sentence could sideline an artist for years, imagine what an entire marketing department, built on hiding a singer's face, could do before a career even started.
Kiss an angel good morning.
Number 3. Charley Pride. Kiss an Angel Good Mornin', 1971. An RCA executive holds a photograph in 1966 and makes a decision: don't send it. Let the voice reach radio programmers first. Let Southern audiences fall in love before they learn who they've fallen for.
Kiss an angel good morning.
RCA withheld Charley Pride's image from his early record sleeves entirely. His debut album was titled Country Charley Pride, with no photograph anywhere on the cover, betting that Southern stations wouldn't play a record if they knew the singer was black. It worked. By 1971, Pride was the Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year and one of the best-selling country artists alive.
Angel good morning. And over like the devil.
But the strategy proves the point it was built to hide. At his earliest live shows, audiences who'd fallen for his voice on the radio would sometimes see him walk on stage and gasp, or walk out entirely, only to come around by the end of the set once the music won them over. Even at the height of his fame, hotels in the South refused to house him. It took until 1993 for Pride to become a full, official member of the Grand Ole Opry, nearly 3 decades after he first stepped onto its stage.
Kiss an angel good morning. Over like the
RCA's marketing plan was built on the calculated assumption that the truth about Pride's race would cost them sales. It wasn't proof the industry had grown more honest. It was proof of exactly how prejudiced its audience still was.
ends on the street. They wanna out.
Sometimes the industry didn't even wait for an artist to become inconvenient. Sometimes all it took was 11 seconds on a stage in London. Number 2. The Chicks, Travelin' Soldier, 2003. March 2003. A concert hall in London. Between songs, a singer tells the crowd she's ashamed to share a home state with the sitting president over the coming war in Iraq. It takes 11 seconds. Back home, it detonates by morning. Travelin' Soldier was sitting at number 1 on the country airplay chart the week the comment broke. Within days, it was gone. Radio conglomerates pulled the group entirely. Country stations staged public destruction events, inviting listeners to crush their CDs with tractors and toss them into dumpsters. Sponsors dropped out. Death threats followed the tour, serious enough that extra security had to be brought in. They never fully returned to country radio's good graces, and didn't try to. Instead, they released Not Ready to Make Nice in 2006, an unflinching record about the fallout that swept the Grammys. Record, Song, and Album of the Year, won largely on the strength of an audience that followed them straight out of the format that abandoned them. The Chicks weren't blacklisted for a scandal or a lyric. They were blacklisted for 11 seconds of spoken opinion. 3 years later, the same industry that erased them watched them sweep the genre's biggest awards for a song about exactly what had been done to them. Every story tonight has been building toward this final truth. A woman who broke a 20-year silence, only to be told to cut the one honest line out of her own song. Number 1. Rissi Palmer, Country Girl, 2007. A Car on I-40 in Oklahoma, 2007. A young singer hears her own voice come through the radio for the first time and starts crying too hard to sing along. She'd later say it ranked up there with getting married and having her daughter. That's how much weight a single radio play carried after years of doors staying shut. Rissi Palmer's debut single, Country Girl, reached the Billboard Country chart in 2007, the first time a black woman had charted a country song since 1987. 20 years of silence, broken by a song about tire swings and belonging. But even that breakthrough came with a condition. The original lyric included a line directly addressing her being black. Her label made her cut it. Some thought maybe I don't need that, she later said.
I'm a country girl, born and bred.
She played the Grand Ole Opry that same year, following a path first cleared by DeFord Bailey and Martell. Then, in 2009, a legal dispute with her label left her unable to record for an entire year. She rebuilt independently and now hosts a show named directly after Martell's only album, closing a 50-year loop between the two women.
Let me hear y'all clap your hands. Y'all clap your hands.
The most damning detail in Rissi Palmer's story isn't that she broke a 20-year silence. It's that the industry required her to delete the one line where she said the quiet part out loud. Proof that even a breakthrough still came with the oldest condition on this list. Be everything they want, just don't say what you are. 10 artists, 10 decades, 1 pattern. DeFord Bailey, Martell, Mickey Guyton, Herb Jeffries, K.D. Lang, Loretta Lynn, Freddy Fender, Charley Pride, The Chicks, Rissi Palmer, erased, sidelined, or edited for the same underlying reason, dressed up in 10 different excuses. Country music has always marketed itself as the sound of honest, unfiltered American life. Every time an artist's honesty collided with the industry's fear of losing its most comfortable audience, Nashville chose comfort. Every story tonight was a letter mailed to a future that finally showed up to read it. Decades too late for the artist, but not too late for the truth. The industry didn't erase these voices because they were weak. It erased them because they were honest, and honesty was never good for business.
Angel, good morning. Let her know you think.
Tell us in the comments which name surprised you most, and subscribe. Because we're not done uncovering the voices Nashville tried to bury. The music never lies, even when the industry does.